Hey, what's up, you guys? So today I'm going to be talking to the physicians, my fellow physicians out there. And my question to you is, have you ever felt unfulfilled despite your success as a physician? Or has your success as a physician come at the cost of your fulfillment, come at the cost of your health, your wealth, and relationships? If that's the case, then I believe I'm going to provide a ton of value for you today, because we're going to be talking about fulfillment, something that is near and dear to my heart, because as you will learn as you listen to the rest of this live stream, is that this was me. This was me at one point in my life as a physician, and it's been a topic of discussion that I have had more and more with other fellow physicians, which is this topic of fulfillment. And there are many of us that are just not nearly as fulfilled as we thought we would be whenever we embarked on this journey of becoming a physician. So if you are a physician, I want you to pay attention. If you know a physician, make sure you share this information with someone else. For those who don't know me, my name is Dr. Brad, and I am a physician, but I'm also a performance coach. And for the last several years, outside of my practice as a sports medicine physician, I've also been a performance coach where I help people perform at a high level so they can succeed at work and win in life. However, the reason why I'm doing this live stream right now is because I've never really focused on giving the value that I did as a performance coach for physicians. And the reality is that a lot of us are, we're not nearly as fulfilled as we thought we would be. So what I hope to do today and what I hope to do in the future is provide value in terms of how can you master your mindset as a physician so that you can live a fulfilled life and succeed without sacrificing your health, your wealth, and your relationships. And so that's the question we're going to be talking about today. Is, have you ever felt unfulfilled despite your success as a physician? Or have you ever felt like your success just came at too great of a cost, at the cost of your fulfillment, at the cost of your health, wealth, and relationships? So I guess the best way to start is just to share with you my own personal story. So, several years ago, I'm a double boarded physician, ER and sports medicine, building my sports medicine practice, having success, succeeding as an ER doc, also having a home-based business that I was running. And, I was going, man. I was succeeding. I was hungry. I was out there getting it. And I remember at one point just feeling like, I have succeeded in ultimately what I wanted to do. I have climbed the mountain, so to speak. I got to this mountain and I get to the peak of the mountain and I look out and I'm thinking, this isn't nearly what I thought it would look like. Like, I've spent all of this time, money, energy, and effort to get to where I'm at as a physician, and I'm not nearly as fulfilled as I thought I would be. And it was something I never really even wanted to discuss with somebody else, because I was like, people, nobody else is really feeling this way, And the way that lack of fulfillment was expressing itself was I didn't have any time, right? I didn't have any time because I was so busy. And because of that lack of time, different areas of my life were struggling. My health wasn't being optimized. I wasn't in the shape that I knew I could be in. I wasn't optimizing my wealth. My personal wealth. I wasn't, my relationships were suffering, relationships with my spouse, relationship with my kids. Like, my relationships just weren't where I wanted them to be. As a matter of fact, even though I was succeeding, I wasn't succeeding at the level that I knew I could, right? I really wasn't performing at the level that I could. And ultimately, I was just underachieving in both my professional and personal life. And as a result of that, I felt unfulfilled. I felt unhappy. I felt stuck. I felt stressed and overwhelmed. Felt like no matter how much harder I worked, I didn't feel like I got a whole lot more done, even if I worked harder. and I felt like I wasn't living up to my potential. And ultimately, I would ask myself this question. And maybe you've asked yourself this question if you're watching this and you're a physician. Maybe you ask yourself, you said, how did I get here? Is this it? How did I spend so much time, money, energy, and effort and focus to get to this place, and I'm not nearly as fulfilled as I thought I would be? Ultimately, you're thinking, I should be more fulfilled as a physician, right? And so if you ever felt this way, here's some great news that I have for you, is that there is a way for any physician to be able to live a fulfilled life and succeed without sacrificing your health, your wealth, or your relationships. And I'm here to tell you that because I want to share with you what I call the physician formula for fulfillment. And it's 3 steps, 3 things that you can do to be fulfilled and live a happier, healthier, wealthier life, to succeed without sacrificing your health, wealth, and relationships. And as a result of what I'm going to share with you this evening, I've been able to, when it comes to my health, get in the best shape of my life. It comes to my relationships, for my relationship with my spouse and children being better than they've ever been, being able to increase my wealth over this time, start a coaching company, write an Amazon best-selling book, and start pursuing my purpose and live the fulfilled life that I originally signed up for as a physician, right? So I want to share with you that it is possible, okay? And so there's 3 things, 3 ultimate steps in this, what I call the physician formula for fulfillment. And I'm going to break each one of them down. I'm going to tell you why it's important. I'm going to tell you what it is. And I'm going to share with you really what prevents us from focusing on these things to be the fulfilled physician that we ultimately desire to be, or have that fulfilled life that we ultimately desire to live as a full-time physician. So the first step, the first thing in this formula is mindset development. Now, what does that mean? This means, like, what are we going to set our mind on, and how are we going to develop that? This is amazingly important. See, the way that I thought, and the way that many of us think, is our fulfillment is dependent on our success. Meaning, if I succeed at something, then I'll be fulfilled. If I succeed at this thing, then I will be happy. How many times have we said, you know what, once I achieve this, once I hit this income goal, once I see this many amount of patients, once I do this, then I will be fulfilled. And that sounds pretty reasonable, because that's how most of us think. That's how I once thought, is that my fulfillment is predicated, is dependent upon my success. And then ultimately what we're saying is that my success in this thing, ultimately my success professionally, proves my worth, my value, and therefore proves my happiness. So my fulfillment is dependent upon success. But what I discovered is that when my fulfillment was directly contingent upon my success, no matter how much I succeeded in my professional life as a physician, I still wasn't fulfilled. So therefore, my fulfillment can't fully come from what I do professionally, because I've succeeded in getting to where I wanted to. I've succeeded in some of the things I wanted to do as a physician, but I'm still not fulfilled. So fulfillment can't be predicated completely on success. But then the flip side of that was this. I started realizing that if I didn't succeed, if I did not succeed in something that I was going after professionally as a physician, then it would devastate me. Because not only was my fulfillment dependent on my success, but now my identity of how I saw myself was dependent upon whether I succeeded or not. So when I hit a road bump in my career, and income wasn't happening, or I wasn't succeeding at the level that I went, it took a hit to who I was as a person. And so I started realizing that what I was doing was I was working from the outside in, meaning that anything in terms of fulfillment was contingent upon what happened outside of me. If something if I succeeded at something, then I'll be fulfilled. If I didn't, I was not fulfilled. And so instead of working from the inside out, being fulfilled first, which actually predicates success, ironically enough. And so, I remember having a mentor, and he told me, he was like, "You're working too hard." I was like, what do you mean? He said, "See, you're trying to work harder to fulfill, or to be fulfilled. So you need more successes in order to be fulfilled. So therefore, you work harder to succeed in order to try to be fulfilled. And whenever you're not, you try to work harder to succeed more so that you try to become fulfilled. Are you working too hard?" I'm like, what? He said, "You see," he taught me a lesson. He said, "You see, every behavior is tied to an underlying belief. Every behavior is tied to an underlying belief. And so if you want a certain result, you have to focus on the belief in order to get a certain behavior." He said, "Listen, you've got to focus on fulfillment first. And fulfillment is actually a precursor to success. Doesn't necessarily depend on success." So he's like, "Listen, no different than the way a farmer, if he wants more apples, he doesn't focus on the surface, he focuses on the soil." He said, "You need to focus more on the belief, and then you'll get the things that you want, as opposed to trying to work so hard at it." He said, "Focus on your mindset, and your mindset will determine the methods that will then carry out the things that you want." He said, "Focus on the mind, the methods will come. Stop trying to work so hard on the methods, and stop trying to use your performance to try to prove who you are. Focus on your beliefs and your true identity, and therefore, and your fulfillment there, and your success will come as a result." And so, it was amazing. And once I started focusing on my mind, and where my mind was set, more than the methods of trying to work hard, focusing more on my beliefs as opposed to my behaviors, didn't have to work as hard, but I also realized that I was fulfilled. And the more I was fulfilled prior to doing the work, it actually helped boost my success in the things that I was doing. So the first thing is mindset development, having a different perspective going into things. Instead of focusing on success to be fulfilled in order to be able to be a precursor to success. There was a research that was done a few years ago, and it showed that those people who actually went to work and they were fulfilled and happy prior to going to work, prior to doing their work, they were actually much more successful than people who were unfulfilled in the work that they were doing. So first thing is mindset development. Second thing is management of time. So you see, at one point, I thought that the reason why I wasn't fulfilled was because I just didn't have any time. Right? Like, I was busy, I didn't have any time. And because I didn't have time, I didn't have time with my family, I didn't have time with friends, I didn't have time for fun, didn't have time for my faith. And so I thought that I'm not fulfilled because I just don't have time. And I guess, it was true to some degree. And that's how many of us think. It's like, I don't have time. So that, like, I'm not happy because I don't have any time because I'm busy. But then I started realizing, see, I had friends who were very successful and they were very productive, both in their personal and professional lives. And it seemed like they got more done than I did, but they had more time to do things than I did too. Have you ever met somebody who seems like they get so much done, but they're happy and they're successful and they're fulfilled, and like they seem to get it all done? Well, I had some friends, I was like, we had the same 24 hours out of the day. And for some reason, they seem to get more done, but still have time for the things that I didn't have time for. And so I realized that it wasn't so much that I didn't have time or that I lacked time. It was more that I lacked intention of what I was doing with my time. I lacked the intention of how do I want to spend my time in my health? What things, what clarity, I lack the clarity of, how do I want my health to look? How do I want my finances to look? How do I want my relationships to look? And how do I become intentional with the time that I have to cut the fat of the things that don't need to be there and put in place very intentionally the time that I want to put, so I can have time and attention toward these different areas of my life, my health, my wealth, and my relationships, so that I can actually achieve what I want to in those areas, so that those areas can actually become fruitful like I want them to be. Because nothing, check this out, nothing improves without time and attention. Right? Time and attention is intention. That's really the definition of intention, is something that you give time and attention toward. So if we don't give time and attention toward something, aka intention, we can't expect it to grow. Right? We talk about the analogy of the farmer. If the farmer doesn't give time and attention, aka intention toward what he's planting, it won't grow. So when I became very intentional with my time with what I was doing for my health, for my wealth, and my relationships, that intentionality turned into fulfillment, right? So second one, management of time. Third one, final one, is mission clarity. Mission clarity, the ability to be able to get clarity on my purpose. And I define purpose as that is the ability to use your gifts, talents, and resources to be able to serve other people and provide value in their lives so that they're better after receiving that value. So using your gifts, your talents, and your resources to serve others and provide value for them. And see, the way many of us think, and the way I thought before, is I was like, you know what? I don't feel like my work as a physician is as rewarding. We don't feel like it's as impactful as we thought it would be. We don't feel like it has the level of meaning like we want it to. And so we therefore feel unfulfilled because it just doesn't have the impact, doesn't have the reward, the meaning connected to it like it once did. And you started wondering, like, did I make the wrong decision? Some people, some of us have thought that, man, did I make the wrong decision? And what I realized is that it didn't really have a whole lot to do with, did I make the wrong decision as a physician, or was this not my purpose in life to become a physician? It wasn't so much that. It was more of seeing it different, that, you know what, this is actually a part of my purpose. This is actually a part of the story of my purpose, of how I can use my gifts, talents, and resources to provide value for someone else that will serve them. And so I started realizing that what it really was a lack of clarity on what the purpose was, a lack of clarity of what my gifts, talents, and resources are, and being able to apply that not only to my work, but being able to realize that there was an actual purpose separate from my career, that was an assignment for me to be able to do for certain people, to be able to use my gifts, talents, and resources to serve those people and help them solve a problem of value, which is how I started my coaching company, which is why I wrote the book. And so by me being able to get clarity on the mission, then I was able to have fulfillment and have greater impact and income as a result of getting clarity on that. Okay. So the third and final one is mission clarity. Now, here's the deal. As a result of doing this, as I mentioned before, as a result of the the mindset development, as a result of managing the time, and as a result of the mission clarity, been able to get in the best health of my life, been able to to exponentially increase wealth and income, have been able to start a coaching company and write a best-selling book, have been able to increase the quality of my relationships with my wife and my children. And success no longer comes at the cost of the health, of the wealth, and the relationships. And you can maximize both your personal and professional life performance, perform at a high level, both professionally and personally. So I want you to imagine this. I want you to imagine what it would be like to be able to win at a high level in what you do for your career as a full-time physician, but also be able to maximize your health, get in great shape, to be able to optimize your wealth, get the personal finances in order, to be able to get clarity on the purpose that may be separate from your career. You know, for many of us, our purpose is separate from what we do for our career. For some of us, it was the thing. For some people, listen, practicing medicine was their tell-all be-all. Like, that's it. And that was their purpose. For many of us, the purpose and the career may not be in direct alignment, right? They may be two completely different things. Or your career fueled part of your purpose to do something else, right? So, imagine being able to get clarity on that, pursuing that. Ultimately, imagine just being able to live the best life that you possibly can as a full-time physician, which is very, very possible. I want you to imagine what that would be like, all right? But it's going to require you to do three things. Mindset development. You got to set the mind on who you are, on your true identity. You have to set the mind on fulfillment first, and success comes second, okay? You've got to manage your time, become very intentional with your time, get clarity on what you want to do with your time. You have to get mission clarity. You got to get clear on what your purpose is, the gifts, talents, and resources that you will use to be able to serve other people and provide value for them. All right. So I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, make sure you share this with another physician. All right. And I look to provide some more value for my fellow physicians when it comes to being able to succeed in what you do for work without sacrificing your health, wealth, and relationships. Hope to see you guys soon, and have a blessed one, you guys. Peace.